Good morning and welcome to Today in Putnam County, hosted by Putnam County Mayor Randy Porter, the show that takes a look at the events and what's happening all around Putnam County, as well as interviews with local, community, and business leaders. And now, sharing his insights and experience, here's Today in Putnam County with County Mayor Randy Porter.
Thanks, Philip Gibbons. Hope you're having a great week. Thanks for joining us. Our show this week, it's about our children, one of the most precious assets in our Putnam County school system that takes care of those on a day-to-day basis. I'm pleased to have as my guest this morning Schools Director, Mr. Corby King, and board members, Ms. Kim Cravens, Ms. Jill Ramsey, and Mr. Lynn McHenry. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Thank y'all for all being here.
Absolutely.
Let me say first, y'all do a great job with our school system. I think we are very fortunate and blessed in Putnam County to have a great school system. And the only way we have that is we have a lot of great teachers and principals and assistants and bus drivers. You go on and on, but it's got to start at the top.
Well, I tell people, they ask all the time, how do you maintain a good school system? And it's really paying attention to local elections. And you all being a local elected officials, you elect school board members who are involved and who care.
Yeah.
And we have that in Putnam County.
We do.
And so very fortunate here.
I don't know why you wanted to run. I've always said that's probably one of the toughest positions there is in government.
Because when the Lord tells you to do something, you better
do
answer.
it. I think it's a calling for all of y'all.
100%.
And I appreciate all y'all being here. So.
And it's a blessing. Daunting a task, it can also be super rewarding.
Yes. I mean, we talk about our greatest asset as being our kids, and you're making decisions that affect all those children and our families in Putnam County, and you're never going to make everybody happy, no matter what you do. But I agree, it's putting yourself out there like that is very rewarding. Let's get into what's going on. We got a lot of things happening in Putnam County. Corby, won't you hit first on the new Parkview School construction update, and is that going to be able to open and so forth this year?
Sure. So as of our last board meeting, the general contractor and architect were both present. They're still saying we're on target. We're ready to open June 22nd, or they're ready to give us the certificate of occupancy by June 22nd, which gives us plenty of time to move in. When you drive by, and I just drove by this week, when you drive by, there's still a lot of work to be done. But it's exterior work, and he did say that in the board update, that it's on the outside. But as long as we have, and I know weather's going to play into this some, but if we have good weather so they can move the dirt around, start paving, getting the concrete work done, there's still some finishing work on the brick and block, things like that. But the inside looks really nice. I mean, they've come a long way on the inside, and it's just the finishing touches, but we're getting there, and they tell us they're on. So
we want our teachers to have enough time to get their classrooms situated and be ready to go and not have to be rushed come opening day of school. So
you normally open around the end of July, first week of August. Yes. Is that the plan for this next year?
Still the same, and I should have looked at the opening date, but it's around July 31st, August 1st will be the first day of school. But as Ms. Craven said, we want teachers to have time, and we've got the furniture delivery. I think that's already scheduled for that week, June 22nd. Then the teachers will start hitting up volunteers, and typically some of the tech athletes, football, baseball, basketball players will come out and help move. Our local football and basketball, baseball teams will come, get community service hours, helping load the files and materials, supplies, things like that teachers will want to take with them to the new school. So we're starting to coordinate all of those things, and Dr. Presley's got a good plan in place. Elementary people are very organized. Ms. Ramsey will tell you.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is elementary. If it was high school, they could move in 24 hours, but elementary people have to make a nest.
Oh, they do. It takes time. And so she's like, kindergarten's going to move on this day, first grade's moving this day, second grade. So they're putting a good plan in place.
So, Jill, moving all those years of Parkview to a brand new school, but we are moving all the teachers and staff, and everyone is moving to the new school.
But we're not taking everything. Yes, we're moving teachers and staff.
We're not taking everything.
We're not taking all the material.
Good luck with that. I actually got to move from the Allgood K-8 to the new Allgood Elementary, and to get people to elementary teachers to purge anything is like, it's not happening.
Pack rats, huh?
Yeah, they'll hide it, whatever.
We're putting dumpsters out there, throw stuff away. This is not going to the new building.
But I promise you they will be ready. They'll be ready day one.
It's a beautiful new school. There's no doubt it's going to be great. I think it's going to be in a great location. Roads are already there pretty much with the business park. You got 4 lanes coming in and out, except for the small part between Burgess Falls and where the business park starts. Going to be more traffic traffic on Burgess Falls. I know TDOT's looking at possibly widening from where Willa goes down from 4 lanes to 2 lanes to Lee Seminary and making that 4 lanes up to that area. So I think it's going to be a great location. Lynn, you're in the construction business. You're an electrical inspector and everything. What's your thoughts?
Well, I've been impressed with the progress they've made and just wanting things to come together. As Corby said, I've driven by there recently, and you're like, man, there's still a lot that needs to come together, but I believe it can. And giving us, if they get real close to that June 22nd date, giving us a month to get in, I think that's very doable. We understand there's anytime you move into a new facility, it could be a new home or a new whatever, big building like we are. There's going to be some bumps in the road, but everybody is that I've talked to is real pumped about it. So that, they're real excited about getting in this new building, and I think the kids are going to love it. Just all the new that they see. So we just need to focus on that, and I think it's going to be great.
I think so too. Let's talk about the old Parkview School. What's going to happen there? Looking at a pre-K?
At a pre-K center. So, we'll be asking the county commission, I think we're on the agenda, I think Monday evening, to speak with the commission in a formal fashion. We had a work session with them, a really good, productive work session.
It was.
With the county commission a week or so ago. What we're asking to do is convert the current Parkview building into a pre-K center. So we're asking for a bond issue to completely renovate that. So, on the inside, it'll look like a new building, a new facility, updated restrooms, updated classrooms, new furniture, new doors, checking. I think we've got pretty good windows in the place, and the exterior of the building is good. But also changing some of the traffic flow, adding some parking, because pre-K you need more parking. So it's an exciting project, but it's one also that gives us space in our elementary schools. So we would create a centralized pre-K center for our Cookeville area. Cookeville and Allgood pre-K students would all go to Parkview for the pre-K program. Baxter and Monterey will stay the same. And then we'll have that would free up 2 to 5 classrooms, depending on which elementary school we're talking about, throughout the county or throughout Cookeville and Allgood for expansion. We're growing. Our elementary schools are full. We need more classroom space, and we just don't have those available. So before we build a new elementary school, we can renovate this one about half the cost of building a new building, maybe even a third the cost of building a new building right now. So we renovate this, we free up classroom space, and it gives us a few years before we have to build a new school.
Well, and kudos to the board. I think this was a great decision, Lynn, on the board's behalf. When you look at the high construction cost right now, to go in and be able to renovate this building and make it look practically new on the inside, and do everything you'll do for $8 or $10 million is a real money saving thing.
It's one of those things with new construction costs the way it is. It's like, hey, here's a no-brainer. It's something we already have. It's a great location, of course, and it just kind of fell into place that, hey, this makes sense. This is what we ought to do here. It frees us up some. We see the potential, and we can have it done relatively quick too.
Right.
So we're looking at a year maybe turnaround, which is also going to, it's freed up even faster than worrying about a new school. So there's so many good things that can come out of this.
Yeah, that's huge. And I'd like, Jill can talk a little bit about the pre-K, just kind of the benefits of having all of the pre-K students and teachers in one location from an educational standpoint. This is exciting for us. Pre-K is not just, it's not just daycare. They actually teach and learn, and they start, the basic skills, getting students prepared to move into kindergarten, and having the teachers together, being able to collaborate, plan, having a director at the site, and the students of same age in the building. There's a lot of benefits that we think we're going to see from that.
Right,
too.
and having kids, that's their first experience with school, so you want it to be a very positive experience, and to have a whole facility that just focuses on very little people and their pre-K experience, I think is going to be wonderful, and maybe something the rest of the state's we're going to see other people doing that. Yes,
right.
Absolutely.
That's a great idea. We got to take a break. You're listening to Today in Putnam County. I'm your host, County Mayor Randy Porter. More with our Putnam County school officials after this quick break. Stay with us.
And now back to Today in Putnam County, hosted by Putnam County Mayor Randy Porter.
Thanks, Philip. Good morning. Thanks for joining us this week. Hope you're having a great weekend. Our show this week is about our Putnam County school system that takes care of our children on a day-to-day basis. I have with me most of those folks: Director Corby King, school board members Kim Cravens, Lynn McHenry, and Jill Ramsey. They're all the folks at the top that are leading our Putnam County school system and doing a great job. And I want to thank y'all again for what you do on a day-to-day basis for our kids. Kim, I'm going to come to you. This board has tried to do something, I think, different than maybe some of the previous boards. In past years, the county commission and the school system has not always got along, okay, just to be blunt there. And I think that's not just in Putnam County. I think it's in a lot of the counties and a lot of the states. But this board has tried a different aspect of trying to build that relationship. Talk about that.
Well, I think we have really tried to work on our strategic plan and like our maintenance plan. And that's been something I know since Lynn and I have been on, and Jill's a little bit newer, but just knowing what our needs are going to be, and not just for now, but in communicating with the commission, like, hey, here's some big needs that we see, whether it's 2 years, 5 years, or 8 years down the road. This is what we foresee coming, and we want them to be aware so that when we come and ask, they'll be like, oh, yeah, I remember you talking about that. And I think that's key. And I'm going to give kudos to Tim Martin for working on that maintenance list and putting everything together in a plan that we could see. It's really been a blessing. I think that's helped us prepare, help Corby and Tim prepare a lot, and Mark, as far as what we're going to put where and in the budget and so forth. And that's really been, I think, key to helping give information to the commissioners as well.
Jill, you've been in education. I mean, you got to plan your lesson plans for the next day, and sometimes for a week ahead of time or further. And I know when I came into office, there wasn't much planning going on. School system was probably doing more planning than anybody else was, but on county government, we weren't doing much. I came into office, and one of the first calls I'll never forget, White Plains School called me and said, Randy, won't you come out and visit us? And I thought, well, how nice of y'all to invite me out. I go out, and they said, we'd like for you to look at all these leaks we've got in our room. Had 5-gallon buckets sitting everywhere. And I thought, seriously? And we started then doing the engineering study on all the county buildings, and we've redone a lot of roofs and a lot of buildings and fixed things. But if we don't plan ahead, like you do in education, we're going to get emergencies, and emergencies don't always work well.
Right. As a principal and teacher, that wasn't part of my role. My role was to report to Corby or whoever was in charge what we needed. We didn't go straight to county commissioners or anything like that. We followed the protocol. So I've kind of tried to learn from Kim and Lynn and the rest of the board who's been there for a while. This is new to me. You're going to have to help me with this part of it, because meeting with county commissioners and that kind of thing. But one thing I will say about the board is people think we just meet on the first Thursday and a few minutes before a board meeting, and we have lots of strategic planning meetings. We talk a lot about, Lynn will come in and talk about Baxter. He knows all about what's going on at the Baxter schools, what condition they're in, and we kind of all know our schools and their needs, and we're in very close contact with those principals and teachers. So we come to the meeting with a good idea about what our schools need, and then we talk about 5 years from now. So yes.
And Lynn, you started this rapport with the county commission that wasn't there before. I mean, it just makes everybody working together is what it's all about, right?
It does. And I tell you what I've noticed, though, and the reason that we're able to have this communication with the commission is because we have great communication with our board. I didn't realize the problems that you see with other boards until you start going to all these meetings we've been to in the last many years, that we've been on.
Are you saying board members don't get along?
Exactly. And you begin to realize how blessed we are as a school board. We've got 6 people. Obviously, we don't always agree, but we are always, hey, what can we do to help? I'm going to support you. Agree or disagree, we're going to be together as a board. And our unity as a board has really helped us be able to go out and reach out to the county commission and say, hey, we want to work with you. We're together. Let's get you involved too. Yeah. And that's made it, I think that's the whole reason. It's kind of by default that we get together. We see it good with us. why not bring y'all in and you have that same good relationship?
It's huge.
It just makes sense.
But it takes a willingness on the part of the commission as well.
It does.
And
Sure.
so, and Randy, you've led that. And
Yes.
I know this is your show, but I want to say, too, we call, you support that and encourage the commissioners to be there. You give Ben Rogers as the chair of the commission, and even before Ben, when we call and we want to do these meetings, everybody realizes we're growing in Putnam County.
Oh, absolutely.
And we have a lot of needs, and we want to be fiscally responsible as we're growing. Sometimes tax increases and things, those are just a necessary part of life. I mean, we get that, but we want to be responsible when we do have to increase someone's taxes. That's a big decision for the commission. So the more we plan and work together and we realize that we're not just wasting the resources,
Right.
that we're putting the money, to good use and to the benefit of our community, for our kids and our situation, for you all, for all of our services across the county. That's so important. And I think it is a team spirit, and it's just wanting to work together. So we want to say thank you to you and the county commission for reciprocating that.
Yeah, 100%.
It's all working together, and we tout it, city and county and chamber and hospital and school system and the businesses. I mean, we live in a great community.
Yes.
Yes.
That you see the same thing that I do when you go to these meetings and all these other places, and it's not like that. You can have city mayors and county mayors that won't even be in the same room with each other. That's not that way here in Putnam County.
And there are times, and I don't even talk about this with the board all the time, but there are times that Randy and James Mills and I will sit down and just, okay, here's what we see, here's what's coming. It's from conversations we've had in our meetings, things that he's heard's coming up, new developments.
Yeah.
So call Randy, hey, this development gets approved, we got to be looking at the growth that's going to bring, a new school that's here's what we're going to need, and then he organizes a bigger meeting off of that. But it's just having a relationship where we can work together with all of our officials, and that's really important.
Yeah, and it is. We don't want to take that for granted because it's something that a lot of other communities don't have.
100% agree.
Yeah. So talking about future, I know you've been doing a lot of planning, and you brought some stuff up to the county commission. I mean, our county's growing. That means our school system's going to have to grow. You were talking about some additions that you may be making to some of the schools that would save us having to build a new school if we put on some of these additions. Talk about that.
Right. So our primary need right now, part of the strategic plan Ms. Cravens talked about a few minutes ago, we're talking about was a demographic study and growth. And right now we have a growing population in our elementary schools in K4. The Parkview renovation is going to help a lot with that, but we're looking at adding additional classrooms at both Northeast and Cane Creek elementary schools. So along with the Parkview renovation and freeing up those classrooms in all of our schools, adding classroom space at those two will give us elementary space, we hope, for the next 10 years. Now, we're growing rapidly, so the more subdivisions we approve, that could change. But, hopefully we can manage the next 10 years' growth based on the projections of our demographic study. But those kids are going to age into middle school, so we also have to be thinking about the middle school, and we're going to have that need for the middle school wing that we didn't put on the new Parkview School because of the financial reasons. In the next 5 years, we need to start that project. I mean, these are all large ticket items that are going to require bond issues, but we're going to need to add the 5-8 wing on it at Parkview to complete that project in the next 5 years as those elementary kids get to middle school. And then 10 years from now, we need to start talking about a high school. And we hear that from families now. We hear that there's a need, and if you're a family member that's got students at Cookeville High School, it's a need for those families because you're sending your child to 2,300 student school, and families prefer the smaller setting. They want that 1,200 student school. We've got growth space at the high school right now because we do a lot with work-based learning. We do a lot with dual enrollment opportunities for students and a lot of online things. And so kids are not always in the building all day, even though that's the enrollment. We might only have 1,800 students physically in the building. So when you look at need for space, it's not as much as it feels like. But if you're in the halls at a class change, it sure feels that way. There's a lot happening in that building, and it's going on. But that's a big-ticket item.
It is.
And it's something that as these kids continue to grow and our community grows, it is a conversation we're going to have within the next 10 years. But that's a $100 million project, in today's prices for a new comprehensive high school.
We've got to stay ahead of the growth. We got to take a break. We'll talk more in just a minute. We were talking about Putnam County School System, and I've got Corby King, Kim Cravens, Lynn McHenry, and Jill Ramsey, our board members, with us. We got to take a break. Stay with us.
And now back to Today in Putnam County, hosted by Putnam County Mayor Randy Porter.
Thanks, Philip. Welcome back to Today in Putnam County. I'm your host, County Mayor Randy Porter. This week's show is about our Putnam County school system. And my guests this morning are Schools Director, Mr. Corby King, board members, Ms. Kim Cravens, Ms. Jill Ramsey, and Mr. Lynn McHenry. And we'll say again, I appreciate y'all being here and the job that y'all do educating our kids. As we talked about, and we all believe leadership starts at the top. And if y'all are doing a good job, it's going to flow down. And when we ended the last segment, we were talking about a new high school and the perceptions and everything. And Kim, I'm going to kick it off to you and let you finish your thoughts.
Well, I've been on the board since 2012, and that was one of the first things that I got asked a lot, even back then. And, Cookeville High School is big, but the programs and the opportunities for students is amazing over there. And we can offer what we offer over there because of the student population. So, I have 3 girls that have graduated from Cookeville High School, and all 3 of them would tell you that they loved it. They loved it. So if you're a parent and you get leery, just, give it a chance. Go find the program that is right for your students. I didn't even know this until I went to the CTE banquet the other night that we have dog grooming and stuff going on over there.
Yeah,
there is so much over there. We say college and career ready, and that's what we mean at all 3 of our high schools, is that we either want to prepare kids for their college or come out and be part of this community and go into the workforce. And there are a lot of opportunities to do that. And we have great partnerships with a lot of people in the community to do that for our students. So
absolutely. And I want to say too, Kim made a good point there. It's so important if you are a parent listening, and just to shrink the size of that place is encourage your kid to get involved.
Yes.
And that's at any of our high schools, but especially in that large school, whether it's, an athletic, band, chorus, drama program, or one of the CTE programs, and get involved in a work-based learning type thing. Just being involved makes it a smaller and a more personable environment for the students, and they get to know their teachers better. And that's so important, and that's true at any of our schools.
Right.
One thing that I know since I've been on the board, that and Corby's been instrumental in this, we have really pushed the idea of having a program for every kid so that they can fit in. That is so critical in the world we live in. Yeah. And even with my kids, I tell them, you don't have to do a certain sport or whatever, but you're going to do something. You find that niche, and we want to be able, as a system, to provide that niche for all these different kids so that they fit in, and their role is just as important as any other child in the district. And that's something that Corby has done a great job pushing, and we're continuing to do that, and that's what we want the parents to know. Tell your kid, find that spot, get involved.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like Kim, I had 2 girls that graduated from Cookeville High School, and they went in very different directions, one in AP and one in dual enrollment, which is very different, but they both were prepared for college. And the good thing is that not all kids want to go to college, right. and they'll be fine if they don't, because there's so many opportunities now in the workforce.
Exactly. Well, and that CTE awards you were talking about the other night, it's amazing that all the programs are out there. We need folks that are going to be electricians and plumbers and builders.
Auto
and
mechanics.
Oh, yeah. Without them,
and they're getting industry certifications, and they're ready to enter the workforce leaving high school, which is huge.
And one thing, Corby, too, I think the commission and the school board made a wise decision, was having that option on this property out off of 111, what we call the Trinity Church property. It's altogether it's about 118 acres. We've got an option with the city of Cookeville. They already bought the property over the next 5 or 6 years to be able to buy that property from them, what they gave for it, to have room for a new high school and another elementary school. Right?
We're in year 2 of that option, so we've got 3 more years to consider that. And I just think it's wise. There's not a lot of land, and especially as more is being developed, I think that's something we really need to consider as a county, is purchasing that from the city. I don't know that they would extend us another 5-year option at the end of this.
And we are, if you're listening from the city of Cookeville, we are so thankful for that option. That's a blessing. There's no doubt about that. So,
and that was a gracious thing on the behalf of the city, but I do think it's something as a county that we need to consider, and that was in the $3 million range, I think, as the purchase. But for $118 million with today's prices, it's also that's a bargain.
It is. It's hard to find a large tract of land in Putnam County inside the city where you've got sewer and everything like that. We
did have that evaluated, by one of the architect firms, and what they say, based on just the topographical studies that were conducted on that, we can build a high school, and we can actually put a high school and an elementary school on that property. And that's something we need to consider is, we have room for not just one, but possibly two schools.
Yeah. I want to, 2 or 3 minutes we got left, I want to hit about our teachers.
We could have done a whole show on this one.
Yeah, we could.
For sure.
I've been well educated most of my adult life by my sister, who's a teacher in Sumner County, about how important teachers are, and I already knew that, but she keeps me updated on all the stuff that's going on. We're so fortunate in Putnam County to have all the great teachers that we have and educators. Jill, you being one of them. Do you remember what you started out at when you started out as a teacher? I just wondered.
Oh, wow.
I started out as
As a
salary.
school system?
I tell people all the time I made $600 a month, and they
I made $800 at EMS when I started out. We got
Yes.
paid once a month. But that's a reminisce. I don't know y'all need to hear that, but we're trying to get our teacher salaries up because you need folks coming in, and that's a goal,
I can give you a
right?
comparison. I do still remember this. So 25 years ago when I started, the starting salary was $24,000. $24,500 was my starting salary.
And what is it today?
And today we're at 40 with the new budget. If it gets approved, we're going to be at $48,000 a year.
Basically doubled
So
in
basically
25
double
years.
in 25 years.
What's another vocation out there that has just doubled in salary over the last 25 years?
Yeah.
There's not many, probably, are there?
Yeah.
But we were way behind, and
Yeah.
and that's what I want to say. Though we're just now. I mean, people are realizing the value and importance of teachers.
They're underpaid, for sure.
And for a 4-year degree with student loans, just like any other professional degree, teachers go to school for 4 years. They have to take out student loans most often to complete the 4 years to get the degree, the training, all of the things that are involved. And it's not just a 10-month job. It goes all summer. Teachers are training, planning, prepping. There are some trade-offs that are positives in there. We do have more all the holidays, and we do get a little more vacation and break time.
If you wouldn't be so stingy with the snow days, they could have a
That is true. We've used most of them this year, but yes, there are a few trade-offs and some benefits in that. But it is it is a full-time job, and the hours are not just that. What students dropped off at 7:30, 7:45 till 3 o'clock, 3:15. But Teachers Day started a lot earlier than that, and they go much later than that, 3:15. 3:30, and especially if they're involved in anything extracurricular. So the salary, we're just trying to be competitive.
Your goal is to hit 50,000 and start
Actually,
out,
our
right?
goal is to be more. The state goal is 50,000 by 26, 27. We've always been above the state minimum. That's the state minimum salary. We've always been, several $1,000s above that. Our goal as a school board, and we're working hopefully with the county commission to continue this projection, that we will be above the state minimum. So when the state hits 50,000, we should be in the 53, 54 range, just to stay above the state minimum, because we have to be competitive with our neighbors. And there's not as many teachers coming out, and so we want to make sure we get the best.
Absolutely.
And if we're not paying, we're not going to get
You're
them.
not going to
Yep.
get them. Shout out to all our teachers out there for the
Thank
great job
you.
you
Yes.
do. Guys, thank you for what y'all do, and thank you for being on the show today. Keep up the good work with our school system. Truly believe that our school system is in great hands with you guys, and I appreciate
thank
y'all.
you.
Thank you,
Thank
Randy.
you.
Hey, one event we want to tell you about, it's the Run for the Wall. It's this Sunday, May the 19th at 4:30 p.m. There's going to be over 300 veterans on motorcycles coming to Cookeville. We want to line the streets from South Jefferson all the way over to the Chamber of Commerce. We're going to be hosting this group for 2 nights. The only place that gets these guys for 2 nights in a row is Cookeville. They love coming here. Their final stop is the Arlington National Cemetery. So that's Sunday, May the 19th at 4:30. If you help us line the streets from the interstate over to the Chamber of Commerce, we'll welcome those folks here to Putnam County and Cookeville. That's our show for this week. Hope you join us every weekend for Today in Putnam County here on all the Zimmer family of radio stations. I'm County Mayor Randy Porter. Hoping you have a great rest of your weekend, and may God continue to bless our great county.
You've been listening to Today in Putnam County, hosted by Putnam County Mayor Randy Porter.